Hey everyone, how is it going? It is Monday morning here in South Africa. Just dropped my children off at school and I saw a post. I'm just going to read it to you quick. This person saying, it's a really good question. I saw this on social media. He's saying, guys, when you have a presentation or something or somewhere where you need to speak in public, how do you think? That's a really good question. And how do you deal with it? Yeah, that's a really tough one. As people who stutter, I'm sure you know, it is tough. So the first thing is, how do you think? So for me, when I would do public speaking, number one, I'd avoid it like the plague, especially at school. When my stutter was very, very bad at school, I would avoid it. We had to do speeches. I hated them. I would panic. I wouldn't eat. I'd be so anxious. It even got so bad that when it came to Afrikaans speaking, Afrikaans speeches, so Afrikaans is another language here in South Africa. It's similar to Dutch. My stutter, as I'm sure with a lot of you, if it's your second or third language, your stutter is much worse. So I would stutter so badly, and eventually the Afrikaans teacher said to me, look, I don't actually have to do the speeches in front of students anymore. She would let me just write it out and hand it in. So yeah, thanks to her for helping me out there, but it's not a good feeling. So how can you change your thinking there? So the main thing I would say is your whole identity and who you are is not defined by one speech, by one presentation. So don't overthink it. Rather try and prepare as much as you can for your speech. Practice as hard as you can before. Have that confidence going in for the speech, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. But the thing is, don't let one speech ruin your life. Like really, it's not worth it. Try and stay positive and use techniques. So this is coming on to the second part. We ask, well, how do you deal with it? The main thing here is to practice. So if it's a prepared presentation, something that you know that you're going to do maybe next week at work, at your job, you're going to have to maybe introduce some colleagues, or you're going to be at school or at college and you have to do a presentation. The main thing to do is to practice beforehand. And here the best thing to do is what I found works for me is to write it out, just to read it to myself. Normally when I read the speech to myself, my speech is quite fluent, so I don't stutter. When I'm by myself, that's me, and I know for a lot of other people who stutter also, when you're by yourself, if you're talking to yourself, you don't stutter. So use that to your advantage. Read the speech and use techniques on the words where you know you would stutter. You've probably got a good idea. You probably know, like, for me, it's like the ST word, like I know if I don't use a technique, my tongue gets stuck on the top of my mouth and I can't say any ST word. So I can't say street. I can't say stutter. So those words would give me panic. So first of all, what you can do is maybe limit some of the words that you know you're going to stutter on. Like, you don't have to say every single word. You can choose. You are writing the speech, so maybe choose words that are friendly to you. I'm not saying avoid those words forever, because then you're going to have a bad habit, but just for now, for the speech, you've got a speech, so choose words that are more friendly for you. Then practice on that word. So for example, for me, if I'm going to say good morning class, I know I know the more. I can feel it now. It's bringing back memories of stuttering badly. My jaw's locking up badly. No air's coming out. You can see my neck here gets all tight. That's going to be a complete disaster in my speech. So what I would do is just highlight that M on my speech, on my card. And what I would do is just use maybe like a soft contact, or maybe like a like prolongation. So maybe a soft contact and a prolongation. If you don't know what those are, you can Google them. I've also got videos where I talk about them, but I'll give you a short example here. So I would just first of all breathe in. I'd say good morning, class. So we're just morning. I would on purpose lengthen the M, the sound. I'm not letting my lips get all tight and locked up in a ball. I'm not letting my neck and my airway get all clenched and stressed. I'm just saying good morning, class. That gives me a lot of confidence. No one will notice that I was a little bit longer on the M sound. And my speech starts off great. So now I've got confidence. And you will have confidence too in that speech. So it's good morning, class. Today I would like to tell you about my project. If I'm going to stutter on the P, I'm going to tell you about my project. Now the key to this is to practice when you are not stressed. Because if you try and practice during the speech, it's very, very difficult. And you're going to be so stressed. Rather practice by yourself. So say the speech maybe 10 times. Practicing on every sound, every word you know you're going to block on or stutter on. Practice that word with a technique that you feel comfortable on. We don't want it to be 100%. We just want you to be able to communicate what you want to say in your speech, and for you to not be a nightmare for you not to stay up the whole night before stressing like I did. So it's only going to be a speech that you have to do once. So just practice it. Use those soft contacts, and then try and say to a friend of yours, so you say, hey, I've got a speech coming up. Can I practice it with you? A friend, someone who's kind, who's not going to mock you when you stutter. Then you practice it again. You'll feel a little bit more stressed with your friend. And then you can then use that to your advantage. So you'll feel those blocks. You'll feel the stutters there. So what you can do then is you just practice with him, and you say to your friend, look, hey, I stutter a bit. Your friend knows. So you can just own up and say, hey, I stutter a bit. I'm going to be practicing. I might go back and forward a little bit. And you say, good. Oh, you've got a block. Okay, so your friend, oh, I've got a block. Shoot. Okay, I'm going to use a technique. Good morning, class. This morning or today, I'm going to tell you about my project. My project. You see, I'm letting the air come out my mouth even before I say the word. So that's a technique. Project. Nothing is getting locked up. Everything is smooth. When you go through the speech with your friend, you do it with a family member, then I would even recommend you try it with someone who's a little bit more stressful for you when you're talking to that person. So maybe you've got, maybe not a close friend, you could ask, or maybe it's someone at school in your class, or at work, a colleague. You could say, hey, can I just practice this before with you? I just want to run through it with you. You'll feel even a little bit more stressed now, because now you're with a person who's not so close to you, more of a stranger. And now you say to the person, hey, I might stutter and mumble a little bit, but I really want to work on my speech just to get it as good as I can. The person will say, yeah, sure, come on, practice. Take 10 minutes, go to that person. But now you're feeling quite confident. You've practiced by yourself 10 times. You've practiced with a friend, say 5 or 6 times. You know the speech really well. You probably don't even have to look at your notes anymore. And now you just talk through it and say it in a nice, relaxed way with the person. When you get a block, stop, count to 2. So good. I just break, I count to 2. 1, 2, and I smile, and then I say, good morning, class. Because if you're in a block, it's very hard to push through that block. So I believe in you. I know you've got the speech. I know you can do well in this presentation. I know you can get to the point where you can actually even talk on the radio. You can look at one of my videos. I'll put a link below. I actually spoke on the radio with a stutter, which I could never believe I ever would have done that. Thousands and thousands of people listening to me on that radio station, and I stuttered a little bit, but I managed to speak okay. And I really believe that you can also have that experience. I believe in you. I believe your stutter doesn't have to hold you back. If you find this video helpful, please like it. Please subscribe to my channel. There's so many people really battling with a stammer, battling with a stutter, and this one video can change their lives. So help get the word out. Please help like and share and subscribe, and I'll chat to you guys next time. Keep those comments coming. Bye.